Hello, I'm Jackie, and today I'd like to share with you 3 books I recommend that link to the STEM areas of science, technology, engineering and maths. I think picture books are a wonderful tool to use in this area. They open up opportunities for children in the younger years of primary school to have STEM experiences, but picture books are engaging in any way you look at them. But I think what they provide in the area of STEM is, although presented in a fictional narrative, they provide children with an idea of how these concepts that we see or that we're teaching in the STEM areas apply to everyday and real life events. So there are a couple I'd love to share with you. The first one is a book that was published earlier this year called The All New Must Have Orange 430, and it has quite a number of links. First of all, I'd like to talk about the links it has with design technology. So the little boy here, he saves all his dollars and cents to buy the latest whiz-bang gadget. He sees it in the catalogues, he sees it on the TV, and all the kids at school have it. And when he finally saves his money and buys this item, it doesn't take him long to realise that it's a useless object, much like all of the objects he's spent his money on and that are sitting on his bedroom shelves. He gets together with the kids and has a look at all the objects they've bought, and he realises that these marketing gurus are selling them objects that are useless and are doing nothing really but contributing to the waste on our planet. So he sets about making a change in that area. Towards the end of the story, he realizes there are just 2 things he wants to save. One is the planet, and the other are cardboard boxes, because he realizes that kids can really have much more fun with cardboard boxes and with all these useless objects adults are designing for them. So it creates such a wonderful invitation for design technology, you know, using your imagination, creativity, designing and creating products that have a purpose, that meet the needs of the user, which in this case is children, and then that trial and error of designing and maybe creating something that's environmentally friendly with the environment theme. But the illustrations in this book are really incredible, and that's what, for me, what makes it a text that I think all Australian classrooms should have. And I'm going to show you a few illustrations in here. The illustrations and the story, as well as having links to design technology, also have links to many maths concepts. So the first, and there are lots of illustrations, I'm not going to show all of them to you, but the first is in financial mathematics. So you can see there the illustrations of the Australian currency, which I think is just wonderful. I can only think of one other book that I've seen have Australian currency in the illustrations. We've got number and place value. You know, these are the other items he could buy, which are quite humorous. First half of a novel, flame-resistant matches, and you can see the price tags there. So links to percentages and fractions, and also we've got shape here. So I love finding picture books that children in upper primary can use, and I think this is a perfect book for lower primary, middle primary and upper primary. So thoroughly recommend this one by Michael Speechley. The second one I wanted to share is a more traditional science book. It's called Mr. Shaha's Recipes for Wonder. As I said, more traditional in that it features a number of science experiments that are disguised as recipes. Given the title Recipes for Wonder, Adventures in Science Round the Kitchen Table. So it's great for the library if you wanted kids to borrow for home reading, but it's a wonderful teacher resource too, and also something that could sit on a maker table with a range of equipment you're offering children to have a go at some experiments. So more traditional in that, we have the features of a science investigation, equipment you need and the method, disguised as ingredients and method, but then we have a range of questions that the author's peppering around the book for the children to get them to make predictions, make connections, make alterations to their experiments or think of their own, and make some evaluations. It's really bold, really colourful, really eye-catching and really engaging for kids, and it has wonderful experiments in there that cover a range of science concepts, living things, atoms, sound, motion, light, magnetism. There's a few areas there, so I really recommend that one too. And we have Puff and the Architect. His mum, she's an architect, and she's designing a house for the pickiest clients, which are her children. And in here, she goes through, she spells out some of the designs she's made for other homes, for other animals, giraffes, otters, and they're just not good enough for these little puffins. But throughout the story, we're just giving kids an idea of how design works. So they get to see some technical illustrations, and they get some ideas of design concepts such as hideaway furniture, fold-away furniture, pulley systems, and also the idea that not every design suits every client, and that there is some trial and error and going back and forth until you get the right design, and they eventually do make themselves a perfect home. And I'm right on the 5-minute mark, but if I can just share one more book with you, it's really beautiful. It's called Spirit by Sherry Ryan and Christina Booth. And again, it's another link to design technology. So the little girl designs a boat using items from around the home, a basket, a handkerchief, some buttons, and she tests that in the garden pond, and it floats quite well. She's quite happy. Her design has been successful, and she decides to give it another challenge. She wants to float it in the creek. So she makes some adjustments to the boat. It floats in the creek successfully. She's quite happy. She decides to test it again, this time in the river, makes a few adjustments, puts it into the river, and unfortunately the river currents are a little bit strong and they crash the boat against the rocks, and it is a little bit broken. So there is a moment there where she's a little bit heartbroken, but she picks up the boat and she says, "You're not broken, you can be mended." And I think in terms of STEM and linking to that design technology, there are concepts there that trial and error is an important part of design, that we need to make adjustments until we get that prototype just right. But what I love also about this book is the metaphor. The boat is called Spirit, and I think there's that metaphor for our own human spirit, in that things can go wrong, whether it be with friends, at school, in our homes, but we can bounce back. We're never broken. We can mend ourselves, bounce back and try again. So they are 4 books that I recommend for the STEM classroom. I hope we've got them over there on the table for you to browse, and I hope you can have a look and take them back to your schools. See you next time.